next week class, we will study chapter 7, designing organizational structures. You will study last week management and leadership. Okay, so as I said, in the business part, it's a very old history part is HR, human resource part. That is to include leadership, motivation, organization, something, etc. This is for very old history business part. So most textbook introduce the human resource part. So also our class is introduction to business part. So I want to continue HR part. Last 6 weeks and continue 6 weeks. So today we will study the design of organization. Organization is a part of the HR part. So chapter 7, organizational structures, as also outcomes, goals. What are the traditional forms of organizational structures? There are, as you know, there's many kinds of different organizational structures. So we review the traditional forms. Secondly is what contemporary organizational structures are companies using. So some companies using the organizational structure by contemporary. There are lots of different situations and environments. So what contemporary organizational structure, new trend. Number 3 is why are companies using team-based organizational structures? So especially third outcome is team-based organization. Why they using that? Number 4 is what tools do companies use to establish relationship with their organizations? So it means is what kind of tools the company using for establishing the relationship within their organization. And number 5, how can the degree of centralization, decentralization be altered to make an organization more successful? So most companies need to successful organization. So they're using the degree of concentration, centralization or decentralization. So it's centralizing is better. Some cases decentralizing is better to organization, successful organization. And how do mechanistic and organic organizations differ? So mechanistic and organic organizations, how different? And next is how does the informal organization affect the performance of the company? So informal organization, formal organization. Also nowadays very focused. Informal organization is also very affected area in the company. And also the last verses comment what trends are influencing the way business organizes. So also what is the future trend related business organizing. This is for this chapter outcomes. Okay. And next, this chapter consists of eight verses. First, building organizational structure, contemporary structure, using team-based to enhance motivation and performance. Authority, establishing organizational relationship, degree of centralization, organized design consideration, the informal organization, and the last trend in organizational structure. Okay, so today we will review them one by one. Chapter 7.1. Building organization structure. How do we build the organization structure? So before the review, we will definition. We need the definition of organization. What is the definition of organizations? Organizations means is design of relationship with the firms consists of two or more people working together with the common objectives and the clarity of purpose. So it means is make relationship, company or firm. Mostly we say the company or firm is confusing this. Anyway, there's the order and design. This order and design of relationship. This is organization. So mostly the key function the managers perform include the planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. Last week we studied that. So this module focus specifically on the organizing functions. So organizing, remember the organizing involves coordinating and allocating a firm's resources so that the firm can carry out this plan and achieve its goals. This is organizing. So this organizing or more structuring process is accomplished by determining work activities, and dividing of tasks. This is called reviewed last week, okay? So grouping jobs and employees, departmentalization, we studied that, and assigning authority and responsibility. So say again, so how do we organizing to accomplish by three things. One thing is determining work activities and dividing of tasks. And the second is grouping jobs and employees. And the third one is assigning authority and responsibility. We assign some tasks and then give to the authority also responsibility. That means is delegation. So the result of the organizing process is the formal structure within organizations. So organization is the order of a design of relationship within a company or firm. It consists of two or more people working together with the common objectives and clarity of purpose, as I said, that's definition. So, and also we have to know the division of labor, also meaning the process of dividing work into separate jobs and assigning tasks to workers. So we say the first process determining work activities and dividing of tasks. That means that. So the division of labor, the process of dividing work into separate jobs and assigning tasks to workers, we will call this division of labor. So for example, some employees take or fill orders, others prepare the food, a few clean and maintenance equipment, and that leads to one supervisors, all the others. These things consist of the employees for fast food restaurant. So division of work, division of labor. So what is the traditional structure? The organization is very long history, a very long history. So the company divides the work and then it needs to do the specific jobs. And managers then group the job together so that similar or associated tasks and activities can be coordinated. So this grouping of people, grouping of tasks and resources, grouping of resources, people, tasks, and the resources grouping into the organization unit, we call this departmentalization. Departmentalization is very make the part of it, make a small part. And segmentation. Later, marketing part we will study the segmentation. Anyway, the departmentalization means make very small part. So it facilitates the planning, reading and control processes, the departmentalization. Okay, so say again to definition, departmentalization means this grouping of people, tasks, and resources into organization units. This is departmentalization. And also we need to meaning organization chart. You know the organization chart. With a visual representation of the structured relations among tasks, and the people give the authority to do those tasks. Organization chart. Most companies have the organization chart, something like that. Later, I will introduce. This is for traditional organization chart. CEO, vice president, and each part. This is traditional example organization chart. But there are lots of cases. It's president, vice president, finance part, operation part, marketing part, something. And the financial part also each have each managers. So allocation and inventory control, accounting part, accounting manager, and the financial planning manager, and the operation managers have a production manager, small operation, director of the human resource part. Marketing part also, as you know, the sales managers, and customer service managers, logistics managers, distribution managers. This is for typical organization chart, as you know. So these kind of things is typical organization chart. Okay. There are departmentalization of 5 kinds, 5 basic types of departmentalization. First, functional departmentalization, product departmentalization, process departmentalization, customer departmentalization, geographic departmentalization. So I just briefly explain that one. So the first, functional departmentalization means based on the primary functions performed within an organizational unit. Marketing, finance, marketing, finance, production. This is called functional departmentalization, traditional structures. And second, about product departmentalization. So the product departmentalization is to CEO and then have each department. For example, this emergency treatment part, and have a coordinate part, coordinator part, and head of the authority part, head of the delivery part, something like that. This is a product departmentation. So, for example, the product such as the intercom, control technology, ITT, mostly the kind of company using the product departmentalization. And the process departmentalization is based on the product process using by the organizational unit, such as lumber cutting and drift, furniture finishing, and shipping, for example. So this process departmentalization is, for example, the furniture company. So it's introduce lumber part and the furniture assembly and the furniture finishing and shipping. This is some series related. This is for process departmentalization. And fourth is customer departmentalization, is to vice president in here, or director in here, there's marketing part, for example, railroad customer, for example, this for aircraft distribution, us customers, automotive customers, state customers, and the military customers, something like that. This is customer. So, what kind of customers? Railroad, airport, aircraft, automotive, military customers, and then maybe customers, different customer style. And last is the geographic departmentalization, the geography. So, such as the US, United States, Canadian market, European market, the Latin American market, something like that. This is based on the geographic segmentation of organization. This is the geography. So departmentalization is the grouping of people, or tasks, or resources. So there are 5 kinds of functional, product part, product style, and process style, customer style, and geographic. There are 5 kinds of departmentalization. Okay. Okay. Let's move at the line and step organization. What's the meaning of the line organization? It means it's an organizational structure with direct, clear line of credits, authorities, and communication flowing from the top managers downward. The line steps. So let's see. Oh, I'm missing that. Okay. And line and step organizations meaning that is an organizational structure that includes both line and step position. This is for organizational, the line and the step organization. So is some cases line, some cases delayed for stepping. So step function and the lines function is joined. This is for line and step organization. So very similar this style. For example, but this part is line, but this part is stepping. So this is consists of the 2 lines, line and step is joined. This line and step, line and step organization. Oh, I'm sorry, there's a missing the example. Functional departmentalization is product, finance, marketing, human. This style is the functional departmentalization. And the product departmentalization simply is 2-wheeler, 3-wheeler, 4-wheeler, heavy wood. Because it's your some automobile company, 2-wheel company department, 3-wheel department company. This is product style. Okay, and some you have a big hospital. It's a dentist. This is NSF. This is acupuncture. Chiropractic. This is product departmentalization. And let me show you 5 departmentalization. So the third one is process style. The spinning, weaving, dyeing, printing. This is for process. And flow the product here. And final. This is processing. And the customer departmentalization is the department of foreign customers, domestic customers, wholesale customers, retail customers. It's customers. So I say the regulation, example, it's railroad customers, aircraft customers, automotive customers, and military customers, something like that. So I example foreign customers, domestic customers, wholesale customers, retail customers is customer departmentalization. And last one, geographic departmentalization is geography. United States, Canada, Latin, something like that. North zone, South zone, or East zone, West zone. This style is the geographic departmentalization. Okay. Okay. Let's move on. 7.2 contemporary structure. What is the new structures? So metric structure. Metric structure. That is another name is project management. For metric structure for very adequate project management. The meaning is an organizational structure that combines functional and product departmentalization by bringing together people from different functional areas of the organizations to work at special project, because it is a very limited time, restricted time, and project based is very good metric structure. So metric structure. So metric structure have some advantages. So teamwork, very good teamwork, and efficient use of resources, and flexibility, very flexible. Ability to balance conflicting objectives. Even if the company have some objectives, but all members cannot understand or accept the objectives in terms of the process. So many employees complete their objectives. So in this case, the metric structure is very useful organizations for ability to balance conflicting objectives. So higher performance, because it's each metric part have a responsibility. So that's why the employees get a more higher performance satisfaction, and opportunities for personal and professional development, because it's the metrics structure is repeated project. So accumulate the professional skills and personal development. This is for pros of metric structures. But the other hand, the disadvantage of metric structure, power struggle, because we are separate the metrics. Each part is a struggling part for power. Last week I said the power, so or also the responsibility. The mankind have some get of power, but escape the responsibility, as you know. So in this case, some risky for struggling of power. And confusing among team members. I know that he is my members or not, he is belongs to our part or not, is a very confusing thing. The level of cohesiveness. So this is very lack of the coefficient, cooperation. So this is all cons of the metrics structure. So let me introduce the another structure is committee structure, very special. It's an organizational structure in which authority and responsibility are held by a group rather than an individual. So committee structure means who has the power and authority, group rather than the individual. This is committee structure. So if we have such a problem, if we have decided some goals, or we need to change the goals, and then committee structure is to scratch or divide the responsibility for each members. So committee structure is very specified organization structures. Okay. Okay. 7.3 is using teams to enhance motivation and performance. Team-based structure. So understanding group behavior. What's the meaning? The group cohesiveness. means is the degree to which group members want to stay in the group and tend to resist outside influence. So means is the group cohesiveness means density of the group members wants to stay there. I want to keep going. I want to stay there. This is group cohesiveness. And the work group versus work team. What's the meaning? Difference. Work group means the group that share resources and coordinate efforts to help members better perform their individual jobs. It's work group. But work team means like a work group, but also require the pooling of knowledge, skills, abilities, and resources to achieve common goal. It's work team. Work group is a more large concept. Work team is a little bit specified knowledge, skills, abilities, resources limited. So it's work team. Work team means sometimes work together, but work group is separate job description. So a little bit more bigger concept is work group. Work team is a little bit smaller meaning. So there are some types of teams. So problem-solving teams, self-managed work teams, cross-functional teams. We are divided in three kinds. First, problem-solving teams. As you know, the common sense thing. So usually members of the same department who meet regularly to suggest ways to improve operations and solve specific problems. So in the company operations, there are lots of problems. So in this case, very specified problems. So in this case, how to solve the problems. There are some task posting or something like that. This is for problem solving teams. Temporarily they consist. And self-managed work teams means is team without a formal supervision, then plan, select alternatives, and evaluate their own self-managed work team. So they consist some teams, and then they manage themselves and their work team. The cross-functional team means is members from the same organizational level, but from different functional areas. So this part choose it, this part choose it, and make some cross-functional team. Temporary or more permanent. Choose one guys, and make some cross-functional teams, same levels, same functional areas. And then they make some solve the problem. This is a cross-functional teams. Okay. So, and how do they build the high-performance teams? The great team must possess a certain characteristic. So, selecting the appropriate employees for the team is vital, very vital. So, employees is more willing to work together to accomplish the common goals should be selected rather than employees who are more interested in their own personal achievement. Team members should also possess a variety of skills because it's several skills member consist of the teams. That's why. Okay, so diversity is very important factors for make teams. So the managers wants to high performance or the build a high performance team need to some specified skills for understanding and specified techniques. So this is for manager need to high performance teams build methodology. Okay. And next 7.4 is authority. Authority is something power. So establishing organizational relationships is authority. In the company have different level. As you know, For example, this one. Top manager, CEO, top manager, and middle manager, and steps. So each level have some different authority and responsibility. Because automate the authority. Authority is very similar power. So each level have authorities. Why? All organizations consist of this. So wants to build this one, this style, and then keep on these authorities. So managerial hierarchy. That's it. The hierarchy. The management pyramid, something like that. As a level of the management within organizations that is typical, include top, middle, and the supervisory management, something like that. This managerial hierarchy, management pyramid. The span of control, span of management, how can we extend? The number of employees a manager directly supervises, also called span of management, span of control. Okay, so every company must decide how many managers needed at each level of the management hierarchy. Because it's how many. So that's why we make picture by pyramid style. This is 5 guys, 10 guys, more population here, and then one CEO. So the question is that effectively supervised to work perform within organization unit, how many people, how many managers needed each hierarchy. So the manager's span control means span of management is the number of employees. How long employees include the supervisory managers and middle level managers and top management. Top management managers belongs to 5, and middle level managers belongs to 10. Something like that. This is span of control. Okay, let's move degree. Degree of centralization. The optimal span of control is determined by the following 5 factors. I said how many employees belongs to the manager is a span of control. So there are 5 factors. The nature of task, location of the workers, ability of the manager to delegate responsibility, amount of interaction and feedback between the workers and managers, level of skills and motivation of the worker. These factors affected for degree of centralization. First, nature of task means is the more complex task, the narrow the span of control, because it's if the more complex, more difficult, more complexity. In this case, the narrow span is control is better. And the location of the workers means is the more location, the narrower the span of control. See, exactly common sense, because it's there are many locations at this time, more smaller span of control. Ability of the managers to delegate responsibility. It means the greater ability to delegate, and the wider span of the control means is the ability is more greater. Exactly the wide span of control is better. The more people need it. Amount of interaction and feedback between the workers and the managers means is the more feedback and interaction required, the narrow span of control. So the more the feedback and interaction required. In this case, the span of control is made narrow. Okay. And 5 level of skills and the motivation of the workers means is the higher skill levels and motivation, the wide span of control means is if you need more higher skills, higher motivation at this time, you don't need to you need to wide span of control, more people means it. So the degree of centralization means is the optimal span of control is determined by the five factors. Level of skills, the narrow. Amount of interaction and feedback, the narrow is there. Ability for managers is more wide. The location is narrow, more wide. The nature of the task is more narrow. Okay. So this is for centralization and decentralization. So why this? Degree of centralization and opposite is decentralization. Centralization means the degree to which formal authority is concentrated in one area or level of an organization. Is centralization. Top management math makes most of the decisions. Top manager makes the most decisions. And the other side is decentralization. The meaning is the process of pushing decision-making authority down the organization. It's decentralization. Centralization is like more centralized. Decentralizing is scattered power or authority. The decentralized is more lower levels. Okay, so decentralization is going down. Centralization is going up degrees. Okay. And let's move on. 7.6. This is for illustrate, explain by illustrations. Centralization is like decentralization is going down. So give to them. The decentralization pictures. For example, this centralization, decentralization example. The same authority, same power, which is called centralized power. Makes the center. This is called centralization and decentralization example. And also this one is centralization advantage. If we make the degree of centralization have some advantages, cost efficiencies. Last week I said this most modern companies focus time and costing. So the centralization is very powerful tools for cost efficiency. And better command, because it's very quickly decision making or opinion is delivered. Enhance the work quality because it's centralized control the quality management. Uniformity in actions because it's centralization, so very quickly delivered to opinion and orders. So this action is very uniform. Focus on vision because it's top management centralized that, and then the top manager is focused the vision, and then it's easy to deliver the visions to lower managers. Proper coordination. It's more chance to coordinate because of the centralization. It's more easy to control or coordinate the properly. These things is for advantage of centralization. Okay. And next, what is the decentralization advantages? Centralization is always correct. Sometimes needed the centralization, some part need to centralization or decentralization. So I introduced the advantage of the decentralization. So better information leading to superior decision. So decentralization means give to the information to the low level, down level. So better information reading. And second advantage is faster response to changing circumstances. As I said, there are so many environment change. In this case, very quickly response to the change environment. So decentralization is more quickly response to the circumstances. And next, increased motivation of managers. So decentralization means a little bit more responsibility. That's why the managers have more motivation to satisfaction their positions. That means managers wants to going up the director level. So decentralization is more motivate each level's manager. And number 4 is excellent training for future top level executives. So decentralization means after that they accumulate the skills and experience and then become level up the futures in the future. So they are training to decentralization managers and they're going up. It's so hard to get me. It's easy to consider. Okay. Let's move to 7.7 versus the informal organization. So in the organization have a formal organization, also we have informal. This also informal is also a very important part of this. So up to this point, we have focused on formal organization structure, but many important relationships within organization do not show up in organization chart. Because it's, even if we decide any kind of organization chart, but we cannot show up on the organization chart. That's why nevertheless the relationship of the impact of decision and performance of employees, all levels of the organization, as you know that. So the network of connection and channel of communication based on the informal relations, exactly needing the informal organizations. So we say this kind of organizations known as the informal organizations. Say again, we cannot show up on all organization chart. So invisible, we cannot drawing outside. So yes, we need to informal organizations needed. So informal relationship can be between people at the same hierarchy. So between the people, different people, different levels, and different departments. So they are different departments, different people, different steps. We cannot show, but we cannot explain, but they have some informal relationship. We also focus the informal organizations. So function of the informal organizations. What kind of functions? The informal organizations have several important functions. First, I explained some example. It provides a source of friendship and social contract for organization members. You should know that. So they are connected some friendship between the steps or social contract between the organization members. Second function is the interpersonal relationship, and the informal groups help employees feel better informed about and connected with what is going on in the firms. There's give them some sense of control over their work environment. So it means is the informal organizations affect for interpersonal relations and informal groups for better informed. And third functions, the informal organizations can provide the status and the recognition this formal organization cannot or will not provide employees. The manager or the high level managers give the authority or some informed everything. So the informal organization in charge for very niche part or very small size or cannot recognize parts, they give the function to recognize the informal recognition. Next, the other functions for informal organizations, the network of relationship can aid the socialization of new employees by informally passing along rules, responsibilities, basic objectives, job expectations. It means if the company hires some new employees, and then automatically they knows the informal functions. So automatically they feel or catch the network of relationship. So this relationship help for new employee. Also, the organizational grapevine help employees to be more aware of that what's happening in their workplace. There are so many happens in the workplace. So some cases report to the supervisor, but some cases no need to report, but all members knows it. So these kind of there are some rumors and some news. So in this case, not official report, as you know. So informal organization need to some functions, informal room, something like that. So informal communication channel. As you know, this part says after lunch and chapter secret rumor. Rumor is the grapevine. You know, the grapevine. So it's a rumor. There are lots of rumor in the company. So even if they are formal organizations, formal communication channel means is they are reported in the bulletin board, our company or something news there. But there are a lot of rumors and hidden story, talkative. So this also need to informal communication channel into company organizations. Okay. That the organization model. Oh, I'm missing that. I'm sorry. We're missing the organization design consideration. Oh my God. Okay. Anyway, yeah. Mechanistic versus organic structures. What's the meaning? The mechanistic organization means the organizational structure that is characterized by relatively high degree of job specification, rigid departmentalization, many layers of management, narrow spans of control, centralized decision making, and long chain of command is mechanistic organization. Now we review the centralization, long chain, and departmentalization, or narrow span of control, something like that is related to mechanistic organization. On the other hand, the organic organizations is an organizational structure that is characterized by relatively low degree of job specialization, loose departmentalization, few level of management, wide spans of control, centralized decision making, and short chain of command. So, for example, if we short chain of control or long chain of control and decentralized decision making, centralized decision making is separate. It's a mechanic organization and organic, so explained by illustration. So mechanistic versus organic model is something like that. This is a mechanistic and high specialization and rigid departmentalization, clear chain of command, narrow spans of control, centralization, and high formalization. On the other hand, the organic models is cross-functional and cross-hierarchical teams. These things same level. And free flow of information. The information is very wide, and wide spans of control. Spans of control is very wide. Decentralization, because it's wide spread. The low formalization. This is very strict formal, but this one is lower formal. So this is for mechanistic structure versus organic structure. And I say this informal organization, we need it for rumor. You think about this open rumor, and then you can understand that. Okay, last chapter is trend. What is the futures? The trend in organization structures, re-engineering organizational structure. Re-engineering. You heard a lot. Re-engineering. Where is that? Re-engineering. Where is it? I forgot. Re-engineering means the complete redesign of business structures and processes in order to improve operation. Re-engineering. So, periodically, all business must be evaluated the way they do business. Anytime they have to feedback and re-evaluate all procedure and output. So the re-engineering includes assessing the effectiveness of the organizational structure to meet the challenges in the future. Companies are increasingly turning to the re-engineering. It means the complete design of business structure and process in order to improve operating. Re-engineering needed, new trend. And virtual corporation. What's the meaning of the virtual corporation? Virtual corporation is a network for independent companies linked by information technology to share skill, cost, and access to one another's markets. That is, allows the companies to come together quickly to exploit rapidly changing opportunities. The virtual corporation. So if we have, in the meantime, during the operate the company, they have some specified risk, and then they're using the network, independent company. It's a virtual corporation, so allow the company to come together quickly, adaptive, rapidly changing opportunities. This is a virtual corporation. So The key attribute of the virtual corporation are technology, opportunism, excellence, trust, no borders. This kind of attribute of related virtual corporations. So the technology means is information technology helps geographically distant companies from the aliens and work together because they locate very far. But the technology virtual corporation is very far, even if the very distant companies, geographically distant, very far company, they can do it the virtual corporation for escape the risk and change environment. And second, opportunism. Opportunism means is aliens are less permanent, less formal, and more opportunistic than the traditional partnerships. So opportunism. So if we adapted the virtual corporations, that kind of the opportunism is less permanent, less formal, but more opportunities. And the excellence. Each partner brings core competencies to the aliens. So it is possible to create an organization with a higher quality in every functional area and increase competitive ability. So excellence is also a very powerful virtual cooperation concept. No borders, no boundaries. So this structure expands the traditional boundaries of the organization. So the virtual cooperation is adapted to boundaries. No borders, no barriers. So it is more chance to extend structures, organizations. This is called virtual corporations. Also, they are using the same meaning. It's virtual teams. Also, its technology is also enabled to cooperation to create virtual work teams. Geographically, opportunistically, excellence company, trust, no boundary. Anyway, there are no longer a limitation. They are using using the virtual teams, even if the geographically apartment or technologically they're using the virtual teams. Okay. And outsourcing. You heard a lot of outsourcing. Another organizational trend in the continues to influence today's managers is outsourcing. For the case, the companies are outsourcing various functions. All kind of. What's the meaning of outsourcing? Obtain goods and services from an outside or foreign suppliers, especially in place of an internal sources. This is outsourcing. So I show to outsourcing. The reason of outsourcing. Why they using the outsourcing strategies? Outsourcing reason is risk management, cost saving, space management, improve quality, cost structure, focus on core business, and scalability. These factors affected outsourcing to the company. Because it's why do they outsource? It means it's change circumstances and change objectives, and then they want to copy or some follow or learn from other resources. This is outsourcing. So even if it's different industries, it's also a good idea or good chance to copy them. It's outsourcing. You know that outsourcing a lot. So if the company has some risky situation and there are lots of the methodology to conquer or escape the situation is very powerful tools is outsourcing. And outsourcing is more chance to extend the market. So, but the advantage of the outsourcing is escape the risk and save cost. Because it's we copy that, follow that, improve the quality. We say okay, even if this different part, I have the automobile company, but this is our restaurant company. But it's copy for some strategy, and then escape or improve the quality, something like that. This is outsourcing. So outsourcing is very powerful tools for company in the future. So this is new trend, and the other trend is struggling for global mergers. Last week we discussed that mergers, and actually, even though this almost 2 years pandemic, Corona-19, so there are very small movement, but now it's lots of the I guess next year or 2 to 3 years later, lots of M&A, because it's most companies rearrangement in the global market. So they are structuring for global market mergers means is lots of company wants to mergers or acquisition for new market share or enlarge the market share. This is a structuring for global market. So this is common sense for you guys, you understand them. Okay, so today is a very short class because it's a human resource part is a very oldest history in the business. So, but the human resource part and the organization is very important part of the business administration. So I will study there 2 weeks. So it's easy to accept the knowledges. Okay. Okay. That's all to today class, and feel free to join this class and have the time, and see you next week. Thanks for joining the class.